And Lord Sugar joins us now live from central London. Good morning to you. And I know you said on your Twitter this morning that you're gutted about this. What's your reaction?
Yes, it is a very sad day for technology, for the computer industry. I mean, those of us within the industry will know what influence Steve Jobs had. I, was a competitor of his in the 80s. I met him quite a few times. We used to have a few interesting discussions. The last time I met him, we were in Milan. And yeah, I mean, a great industry icon. I mean, I just made computers, so to speak. He invented things. He came up with new ways of doing things. He created some great innovations, and he's going to be well missed by the industry.
Yeah, and we've had lots of tributes from all around the world and from all aspects of society, actually. He is someone, in a sense, that has touched so many people, not just with his products, but I think also from the way that he inspired people.
Exactly, it was inspiration, and the Apple products have a following, and that in itself, any marketing person will tell you, is a massive achievement, because virtually any product that came out with their brand name on was followed by the masses. But most of the products, in fact, indeed all of the recent products, deserve that following because they were innovative. They were there in advance of anybody else, and as Steve said in one of his last presentations, often copied. As he said, 2011, is this going to be the year of everybody coming out with tablets to copy us? And they did.
And what was it that marked him out as so different then? Was it that combination of the fact that, he did start off in a garage making his own computer, and then he took that through to the innovations that he was able to create, but also he was there as a figurehead for the company?
Yeah, I mean, it was in those early days back in the 70s and 80s. That's when, I also started in the industry. We had names like Clive Sinclair and people like that around also that were innovators. And I suppose Steve was the equivalent of, our Sir Clive, so to speak, but he took it to a different level. They were, part of the Californian cult in Silicon Valley, and I don't even think at the time he was really focused on making any money, really. I think it was all to do with bringing out the first commercial computer, although IBM will say that they brought the first commercial computer out in 1983. His was the opposition to IBM, the operating system, and from there on, it got a kind of a cult following.
And what about him being the key to Apple's success? Do you think they will suffer now from his loss?
Well, look, there was a time when he grew the business from 1975 or whatever it was, and then he left, and then because the company was under pressure to perform in the stock market, and technology people don't like that type of stuff, really. They don't understand that they've got to be on this treadmill to perform. They're just thinking of new products, and at that time perhaps there were no new innovations. Perhaps the multimedia world hadn't arrived yet, and so under pressure from the stock market, he just walked out, and some fella came in, I think he was the chief executive of Pepsi-Cola, and took over the company and tried to steer it for a while. But eventually Steve came back, and when he came back, you started to see things like the iPod, which started off first of all as a rather clunky item with a hard drive in it, and to what it is today, and then came the iPhone and then the iPad. So yes, he directed the company afterwards, but I think he's also instilled a culture in the company to go in that direction, and of course we're going to have to watch this space to see whether it continues being that kind of innovative organisation.
Do you think there are other people out there like him? I mean, what was it that marked him out? There are other people that are clever, there are other people that design things, but what was it that marked him out as being so different?
Well, I think maybe the communication with the geniuses within the organisation. I mean, there are lots of people in that organisation, unsung heroes, really. And I'm sure Steve would say that if he was asked that, of course, he can't take all this credit on himself. I mean, for example, did you know that it is a British person who is responsible for most of Apple's design? His name eludes me at the moment, and I'm awfully sorry I can't remember it, but it's a guy that came from England that actually is the chief designer of many of the products that we have in our hands. And then you've got the electronic engineers, and then you've got all the software people. And I suppose his quality was being able to sit down and converse with all of these people within the company and collectively put and bundle their ideas together.
Jonathan Ive, I'm being informed, is the name that you were looking for, Lord Sugar.
Okay. Well, sorry, Jonathan.
That's all right.
I've got your name now, and yeah, let's not forget about Jonathan, yeah, because he is a British guy that was responsible for a lot of the designs of Apple.
Lord Sugar, many thanks for your time this morning.